Sometimes the best way to learn is to have fun.
Is it actually thinking for me? Or is it telling me what to think, right? So.
If the role of product manager no longer exists because of all those protective toolkits, then I think it's even a greater plus for PM themselves.
Welcome to the Product House. Well, friends know out about products. So this is actually another very exciting episode for the PM Spotlight, which is kind of special programs run by the Product House, trying to explore a little bit more about product managers' roles, the roles and the reflections.
So for new listeners, just a reminder, each episode we're sitting down with a different product manager, from enterprise to startup, from growth to ops, and even social media influencers, to unpack what the role really looks like behind the title. Just a disclaimer before we get into it, names and organizations mentioned in this episode may have been anonymized to protect privacy.
Yes. Okay, so this time we're very exciting. We have another special guest, Larry Lai, who I actually met in the TikTok Sydney office, the canteen. So Kiet, who is Larry?
So Larry is someone who's built products and bridges across continents. Larry started his product journey in China. He studied in France and Netherlands and now calls Australia home. From game design to product at tech giant Tencent, he also built a live stream gaming platform used by millions, and he now works at TikTok in Sydney, where he leads the live stream product team.
Welcome, Larry.
Welcome, Larry.
All right. Now, thanks for the great introduction, Kiet. Now, let's ask Larry. So what do you actually do outside of the work?
Well, yeah, I think something that I need to clarify is I'm leading the live SMB product team. So we focus on working for small and medium-sized business owners specifically.
Us.
Yes,
small business.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why we had a great chat in the canteen. And then, Kia mentioned, I love gaming, and that's also why I went into a live gaming industry later on in my career path. And then apart from work, I do a lot of exercise. I do lead climbing, sometimes bouldering.
Nice.
I used to play basketball. And as you might know, I have a lot of wines and alcohol in my bag. I like to get some of those and listen to music. So that's me. Thank you for having me, Charlotte and Kiet.
No, we're really excited. Thank you for coming along.
That's a really good intro. Like, we actually prepare a game. So I don't know if this is actually going to come as a surprise for Larry. So we prepare a game called Rapid Fire.
Okay.
Basically, the way how it works is we're just going to have questions, and then Larry is going to answer first, Kia answer second, and then I'm going to answer last. So every question should only spend 2 to 5 seconds to answer. So now let's go. So the first question, solo workout or team sports? What's more of your style?
Team sport.
Solo workout, as much as I want to.
Solo workout. Okay, second question, I think it's also really resonate to Larry's background as well. So what's your childhood game that still makes you smile?
That must be Heroes of Might and Magic.
Okay.
Settlers 3 for me.
The snake on the Nokia phone. That was so good. I still play that. So I really feel like the next one is about food. So what's the strangest food combinations you secretly love?
A combination of food, but like the one thing I really love is the do you know the silkworm?
Oh, right, okay. Yes.
Silkworm when
Before
they become butterfly or something, and then they would have the outer layer, the worm, and then if you deep fried it, it's very delicious. I'm from Canton, so that's one of my favorite childhood food.
Weirdest combination. The one that comes to mind is probably like antipasto on pizza is really nice, but that's not really weird combination.
What? Antipasto?
Yeah, so like pickled vegetables like capsicum and artichokes on pizza. It's really nice.
I have a very strange combination. When I go to Macca's, I like to eat hash browns in only one conditions, if I dip with the honey. So normally when I go to Macca's, hash brown and honey. So it's actually tasty.
Okay, yeah.
Last question is actually about product, which is good. Would you rather launch a product that's beloved by a few or liked by many?
Liked by many.
Yeah, like by many, it's got to pay the bills.
Okay, beloved by a few. So I like small products.
Yeah.
Mm.
I guess the focus of the episode is really about product and product management, right? I'm curious, Larry, how do you describe the role of a product manager? I know based on your LinkedIn, you've kind of in the last couple of years kind of went from individual contributor through to product leader as well. So also keen to kind of get what you think is the difference between, product manager versus a product leader.
Yeah. I think, first of all, I think the role of product manager can vary depending on which company and what kind of product you are working on. But for most of the time, I think in most of the company that I've worked in, it's mainly about, first of all, understanding the goal of the company. Usually, I mostly work in larger companies. So typically, there's some strategy goal top down. For example, in TikTok, lately, one of our biggest goals is to enrich content diversity. So making sure that there are more types of content that people love to watch. Then as individual, either as a individual contributor or a team lead, you need to identify the problem, identify the opportunities, and then to work on it. Typically, as an individual contributor, you still have the opportunity to identify a few areas where it's already aligned with your managers so that it's transparent, it's clear, and you can just work on it straight away and then deep dive into finding the best product design to address the problem or to capture the opportunity. As for a product leader, I think you have a broader scope in defining the problem and selecting many different paths into achieving a specific goal. So that requires more alignment with your senior leaders and also across your team, because sometimes they are also domain experts and they would come up with suggestions. So you basically mixing all those inputs and then do the business decision by yourself. So I would say most of the time it's about identifying problems, finding solutions, and as an individual, you have limited scope. But as a product leader, you need to come up with the answer or solution from a much bigger scope. And then eventually you need to narrow down some of the focus of your team so that they can work more efficiently. So yeah, I think that's what I have experienced.
Yeah, that's a good definition. Have you I'm just curious in TikTok or any other organization that you might work with, is there a different type of product managers?
I have experienced several type of PMs. When I just graduated, I started as a data PM. So when I was in the first job in Tencent, I worked as a data product manager to utilize big data. It was 2017 or 18.
Now it becomes trendy again. Data PM now is called
Oh
AI
really? Oh
PM.
really? Like the word big data was like a trend over there, like the buzzword back in the days.
Yes.
And then Tencent had the luxury to get a bunch of data. Some of the data are really, really private, but they can exploit on the data. So what we have been doing is that we used to build a product called Wi-Fi Manager, and that picks up your Wi-Fi activities when you are roaming offline. So basically, whenever you enter a shopping mall,
Yeah.
the application like on your phone and router in the shopping mall is able to pick up who is coming. They don't know exactly who, but they know the device number. So by looking at those data, we figure out where people are concentrated and where are people gathering, which places do people tend to go. And then based on those data, we do help some of the really senior executives to make business decisions in should we be investing in, for example, shopping malls somewhere, and then or should we be building a lot of infrastructure so that within those shopping mall so that we can help the stores to track, hey, how many different type of people, like wealthy people or middle class people, they are coming to the shopping mall. And why are we able to know that? Because the device ID are linked with a bunch of applications you use. And looking on what application
You
you
even
might be
be able to
using.
know the application on your
Yeah, because your device ID will log into your app store, for example, and people kind of know what kind of application you're using, right? So by that, we were able to identify, hey, maybe the richer people tend to go to this shopping mall. Yeah, so I was really impressed by the amount of data they process and they can do with it. Yeah, and then that's the first period I started as a data PM, and then later on I shifted to like we call it tools PM, so focusing on a specific set of tools, and usually they're more technicals. So
Tools PM. Okay.
yeah, tools
This is the
PM.
first time I hear it. Oh my god! You see, this is an example about the more people you talk to, you're always discovering new title for product managers.
Maybe in a Western language, maybe technical,
Tech
more
PM.
technical related PMs, but also not that technical. So in China, people call it like tooling PMs, I guess. And then I work with CDNs, and then I was building a PCDN network on people's mobile phone so that people can share their media files
Yeah.
easily
P2P.
across, P2P CDN. So that's a bit more technical. And then later on,
Very cool.
later on, when you mentioned platform PMs, back in the days, in 2019, the B2B B-side PM that's getting popular. A lot of Chinese company, they look at Amazon, Microsoft, why they are earning so much doing the B-side business. So then they started to invest in B softwares or SaaS and PaaS kind of things. And then I was in Tencent back then, and I tried to embrace some of the new trends. I always like to get to know the new stuff. So for that period of time, I think BPM will work more closely with salesperson to understand the needs of clients. And then we come back home to discuss with our engineers, hey, how can we iterate our product feature? Most of the time, I think some of the 2B PMs, we have way less options way less power in defining the product by itself, especially back in the China, I work with government a lot. So, and work with larger corporate, and they have really specific product requirements. So most of the time, you don't need to change a lot. Or sometimes if you come up with your own mind and you change a lot on what they request, it's not always going to work out. So yeah, and I think having a limited freedom, like kind of pushed me into looking for a new opportunity. That's why I take a step back. Yeah.
Constraints nurturing the creativities.
Yeah. That's why I took a step back and think, where do I see myself in 5 years? Because I couldn't see myself working for a 2B product specialized in corporate security within 5 years. So I think, I love gaming, I love entertainment. So why don't I find something fun? So I ventured into live gaming industry, and then within live gaming industry specifically, product manager are usually divided into several sectors. What I find that was common in 2 to 3 companies that I have stated, it's first of all, user product PMs. So user product PM usually handle all the C-side business within an entertainment or social media platform. On the other hand, we typically have revenue PMs. They focus on generating revenue. And then on top of that, because most of the live gaming streaming platform in China, they are heavily relying on operations. So we would have the kind of platform PMs that are building a platform to facilitate the daily work of operation colleagues. So that's 3 typical PMs that we would be able to see in a lot of content focused social media platform. And then that's something I know.
I'm interested to know a little bit more about the revenue PMs. So isn't that all a PM care about revenue? Like how does that particular PM, what do they do differently than the other PM?
I think that's a great point, because I do feel like in larger company, they start to separate people into, for example, user product PM that look at user growth and retention, while revenue PM is trying to utilize all the existing users and then find a way to nudge them to spend on your platform. For example, in a lot of live streaming business, how they are increasing revenue is by, first of all, a lot of monetization model on live streaming platform relies on gifting. So they need to have people experience the fun of gifting to different creators on the platform. So, but why people love to gift? on the platform, that's mainly because of they love the person. They want to gift a certain gift in order to get some reactions. And the medium of those interactions is the gift. So when you send a gift, is it going to look good on both sides? Are people having fun? And then can they set up different kinds of activities to facilitate gifting? For example, a lot of platforms, they would eventually build the battling feature. So they have basically two person battling in front of the camera, and then their supporter can send out gift to support either one they loved. So they set up mechanisms and all kinds of programs to facilitate the intention of spending, and then that can lead to different subsets of revenue PM, focusing on, for example, gifts, interactions, activities like battlings and such. And there's a way more. So it's a bunch of different business models they can exploit.
It's a fascinating insight into the gaming and gaming streaming industry as well. Randomly, one of the things I watch is like speed runs. Someone's kind of streaming their game, and the idea is they're trying to beat a game in the shortest amount of time, right? This specific one that I've got is like Zelda Breath of the Wild, right? And someone can actually go from the very start of the game to the end of the game in like 20 odd minutes, basically complete the whole thing.
What's the whole point for playing Zelda? Zelda is a game to slow down, right?
But it's just fascinating to watch, right? But
yes,
the audience is actually interacting in the background, and I always wondered kind of what is the motivational drivers behind it. But hearing what you're saying, it kind of now it makes a lot more sense as to what motivates people to kind of watch, what motivates people to interact, and so forth, right?
What motivates me to watching like some of game live stream is to looking at all the comments.
It's fun, right? But then eventually, I think there's also something fascinating about sometimes those interactions are not dedicatedly designed. For example, when people initially started the idea of live streaming, for example, if you look at Twitch, people just want to like stream their daily life, right? It wasn't even a gaming streaming platform. Someone just want to stream their life 24/7. People like to watch somehow, right? That eventually shifted to gaming, and then when people start to live stream gaming, there are also different type of gaming content as well. So I think live streaming opens up a really different window for people to connect it online in a really fantastic way.
Topic, but there's a wonderful podcast about gaming product, which I've recommended in the past. Have you ever heard this is the Gamecraft?
Gamecraft? You mean the company or?
No, it's a podcast. So it's Mitch Lansky is the main guy, and his kind of business partner. They kind of do the first season was eight episodes, and they basically go through the history of games or the gaming industry from the 70s to today. But the unique view is they look at it. Their thesis is the actual play style and the games that are popular are driven almost entirely by the business model underneath it. And it's the reason why, as an example, you won't see a StarCraft 3 coming out of Blizzard anytime, because the other games just make so much more money. It's an awesome. If you're a nerd about product management, if you're a nerd about games and business models,
sounds intriguing. Yeah.
Oh my God, we have to put that in our show notes again, because I feel like this is one of the most mentioned like podcasts. Like basically, Kia has been recommended since the start. So I feel like it's a must watch for all of us. I do have a questions regarding to the different role, because it's fascinating. You're sharing so many roles that I haven't heard about, like just from the, I guess in the industry, the PMs that have been worked with. So that's why I'm wondering, because you also have experience working in different countries as well. How do you find the difference about, I guess, the different definition about PM's roles, and like what's the biggest difference you experience around PM?
I think, unfortunately, I can't say that because I'm still working for TikTok in Australia. So, I wouldn't say it's a huge difference. Yeah. Also, I'm managing the team myself. A lot of the time, they are facing me, and I'm still reporting to my leader. I don't think I experience a lot of difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a moment of like culture shock of doing business in Australia that you experienced in the last couple of years?
I think not for me, because I had my education in Europe and in France and in the Netherlands, and I studied human interaction design over there. So, I think I was born more used to the like classical ways of doing product designs, and then when I get back to China, I kind of adapted to the way that people do it there. And then when I come back to Australia, whenever I do interviews and I meet people that used to do product designs in Australia, for example, I think they are more aligned to what I learned before in schools, in university. So for me, I'm kind of like a mixture of the Western style and the China style already.
Yeah. But what's the style different? Do you think there's a big difference even in the design world?
Yeah, I would say like the typical Western style of product design, if there really is a difference, is that I think people would tend to put more time in user study and market research.
Okay.
Well, back in China, I think we have very limited time in doing user center.
But it sounds like you guys have all the data in the same time as well.
Definitely.
I wonder. That's interesting. Well, but then did you say you started your career in design? But so how did you actually get into the product manager?
And so I think if maybe I need to correct it. That's like I've always been a product manager. It's just
Okay.
that one really big part of product manager's role in the company I stated, it's to help with product designs. We have to do product design to an extent that is very clear and very understandable by the UI designers and engineers. And also from my own experience, sometimes we have a problem to solve, but then it would be difficult for people to come up with a really intuitive product design that it's addressing the problem and then having a great conversion rate so that when it's pushed and promoted among end users, people can grasp it really fast and eventually stay for a long time and coming back to use it. So I think the design part is also very important in product managers.
Actually, it's probably one last role-related questions I wanted to ask before probably move to somewhere else, because this is something I'm very curious around. Is what do you think is the biggest kind of a difference and overlap between product managers and product design?
Yeah. I think most of the time in all the companies that I stayed, product designer, I think the product manager get to define the problem first and define the user segments that we're working with. And then the product manager also come up with the existing user journey and then come up with a new one, which is the improvised one, right? The improved one. And using this to discuss with the product designer on how can we deal with this. However, so from the perspective of product designer, I think they no longer get a lot of freedom in defining, are we going to work with, are we going to design something for this group of people? And is it this product design ideas that you have, or should we come up with a different one? So let me give maybe a more specific example. For example, typically, I think the case is, for example, for product manager, for example, we get a task of increasing the interaction rate within a live room. And interaction can be people living common, people sending gifts, people doing all kinds of actions. So maybe the product manager can come up with an idea, say, hey, I think a lot of news streamer, they don't know how to interact with their audience. They don't know how to engage them. Why don't we build a mini game for them to have fun? So this product manager, which is me back in the days, I came up with the idea, say, hey, why don't we do a draw and guess game for the creator and the audience? And when they're going live streaming, if they don't know what to talk about, we can play a game, and then I draw something right here, and then I have my audience to guess. So once the product manager have this idea confirmed by his senior leaders, the product designer will follow this idea and then to work on the interactions. However, they don't get the freedom to say, hey, I don't think drawing gets a good product features. Let's do something else. Usually, they don't have the freedom to do so. That's why I prefer being a manager over a product designer in the companies that I've dated.
Okay, so like PM kind of focusing a bit more about the why, and then they define almost like a scope of what.
Yeah.
And then in this situation, like product designer start from the what and carry out with how, essentially.
Yeah, indeed.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and it's that control of the guardrails of direction where you want to take it. Picking on the theme of fun, and kind of what I've heard so far is yeah, you've come from quite a strong design background, and there's just a strong sense of curiosity kind of every step that you've taken through your career. Like you've and from the sounds of it, you've made decisions around, would this job be, or this career path be more fun than this other career path, and kind of gone with your heart there. In your day-to-day job today, like how do you kind of keep that alive?
You mean keep that alive in terms of how can I
Still having fun.
still having fun? Yeah. I
Yeah.
think, first of all, I think it's the type of people that I decide to work for, giving me the sense of satisfaction. For example, if I look back, if I work for some company and the major purpose is to help them to regulate their employee so that we, like, I work with corporate security, helping company to track where the employees are. Are they doing work efficiently? And that's not the good intention I want to work for. So later on, I switched to work for creators and now business owners. And I think they are also creating a positive impact to the company, and they are creating interesting content. So thinking about the fact that I work for these people, and they're also creating something that is easier to be seen and it's easier to perceive happiness. When I look at the content they produce, then it's much easier for me to feel entertained and satisfied. I'm not saying like the corporate owner, they're not doing a good job. It feels less relatable when you are doing something that is less relevant to the value they eventually produce. So yeah, so I think in short, sometimes seeing all the small and business owners on TikTok, they're doing a great business, and sometimes I talk with them offline. It's what keeps me happy, and yeah.
So you're actively creating an environment for you to surround yourself with people with your value and try to align your personal value with your work value, essentially.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, kind of ticks the boxes in terms of your purpose as well. So.
This is awesome.
Indeed.
Oh my God. It sounds like you experienced from moving from being an individual contributor for IC to kind of leader role. So what is that transition like to you? Does it take some joy away from you for that transitions?
Definitely. I think
Thanks for the honesty.
I think back in the day, I just need to focus on my own stuff. So I just need to do a very good job by myself, right? And then later on, once I start to transition into a team leader, I basically need to utilize the people that I manage to achieve great things. And when I started so imagine me being in a group of people that were not selected by me. And I appreciate everybody, and everybody can be friends, but like not necessarily everybody align with the way I work. And you need to make decisions, right? So when I start to shift into a team leader, I'm no longer an individual contributor. I can't finish the business goal purely by myself. I need to have those people to work for the new goal. So that's really something different.
What's the difference, Pa?
Yeah, I think first of all, you need to motivate people to do the things, and you need to tell them what they were supposed to do. That's not easy, I think, in my opinion. Sometimes you can't even say, "Hey, I want you to do ABCD," because I think especially in ByteDance, for example, people are quite self-driven. They have their purpose. They need to explore. They want to explore something that they like. But now you need to somehow motivate it, make them understand the new business goal, and have them work on it. That's a different story. And then on the other hand, you need to take responsibility of their results. So if something didn't work out, it's mainly your problem, right? So you
You're
need to
accountable for
yeah,
it,
you need to fix that. So sometimes you can fix it by coaching people. Sometimes you have to make a hard decision by
Changing the
eventually
dynamic.
changing the dynamics. So it's a very different story compared to pure designs that I used to have the most fun with. Taking care of people business is very hard.
Yeah. It's definitely not an easy challenge, right? I often relate it to having a child, because like you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
and your goals may not be aligned with their goals, but you're ultimately accountable for the outcomes that they produce, right? So
That's definitely. Also, like, I think growing up from an individual contributor to a team leader, you have the initially you basically you think I think I perceive more of myself as a parent instead of as a team coach. I read it in one of those leadership playbook, like, and then like that's a really two different role, because as a parent, you're stuck with your children, right? You can't make the decision to say, sorry, I don't want you, child. We need to achieve a bigger goal. I need to find a new person to do that for me, right? You can't do it, right?
sometimes you can wish.
Yeah, so I think that the transition in roles is all very, very challenging and but fun. Yeah.
But then, well, let's talk about the fun part. So what's the rewarding and fun part about being in this role?
I think that the fun part is that it's a new angle to look at people and to unite a bunch of people in working on and achieving for a new task. It made me think about what human really are and how people would react in different circumstances. So, for example, I think it's really hard to change a person. You can't. I think it's really hard to change a person who they are and who they usually act. The only way you can do within a team is to utilize the traits of people, utilize their characteristics, utilize their strength to make them shine the best. But you can't. I don't think I can ever change a person, change their bad habit, or change the way they think and do. It's just that how I put them, how I work with them. How can I make the best out of them?
This is interesting because I asked this question in one of the recent meetup with the topic around product leaders helping the team building their capability. So there's normally a two school of thoughts in the conversations. Is either you're looking for different shape of the skill set, you putting the team together, so you have a person A extremely strong with data, person B is extremely strong with design, but terrible with data. Like person C basically have different shape of a skill set. They come together as one team. There's another school of thought is when we're hiring, if we have a big like a PM maturity framework or career framework, I want a full rounder. So in the conversation, there's two type of manager in the room to say, hey, when I have a conversation with my coach, my team member, I'm looking for, I want to develop a base level for everyone to base on this career framework. I want them good at everything. And the other type is I'm focusing on, in my team, I'm focusing on getting everyone to be the best of their particular shape only. I find people with different shape together working in the same team. So what type of manager are you? Do you have a philosophy believing in full stack PMs in your like full rounder in your team? Or are you the people who believe in different shape?
I think definitely the later one. I would have a standard. I don't need everybody to be good at every aspect, but they need to reach a specific standard, like a professional baseline. And then on top of that, I would better see everybody to excel at specific domains.
Yeah.
I think that's also what fits a corporate environment, especially a growing one like ByteDance. I can imagine maybe in a different company, they might prefer people to not have any drawbacks, but like more balanced. But I think in my working environment, I definitely prefer the later one.
I think there's another layer to that, right? Because there's skills you can teach and someone can pick up, and there are core values that, to Larry's point, I think sometimes you can't change, right? As much as you want to. And it's the as a coach, in my personal experience, as a coach, sometimes there's just people who are easier to coach than others, right? And it's how much effort versus return that you're willing to kind of put in to turn that person around. When it's your own child, you have no choice. You have to coach them in the way you feel the world should work, right? Because as a parent, you know what's best for them. As a
Really? Okay.
tongue in cheek, but when it's a coachee, you pretty much have to draw a line between how much effort you're going to kind of put into coaching them versus what you get in return. Are they coachable, right? And I think
And
that's a
there's
fun balance.
also something about it's a willingness, exactly what you said before here about it's a willingness problem, it's an attitude or characters problem, or it's a skill set problem, capability problem. I think it's generally it's easier to coach when it's a skill set or capability gap. However, it's really difficult to coach when there's if it's a willingness or it's a culture type of coach. Okay, I have another question related to this. Is because now, Larry, you are leader. Well, this is a question Kia can also answer because you are also a product leader as well. So what would be your advice to the product manager today as one of the most important skill they should focusing on developing in the current DNA?
That's a really, really, really good question. I think the most important skill is I think nowadays is to be able to search or maybe utilize AI to search for information, to search for solution, and then to digest them, to come up with, and then taking all the context they have, and then eventually consolidate those research into like a design or decision. Oftentimes, I would feel if people can, whenever they get a problem, they can start searching and thinking from a broader perspective, looking for more information, and they tend to eventually come up with a better answer and better solution to that.
I love
Very nice.
that. Kia, what do you think?
I've been inspired by talking to Larry, right? I think it's I think the skill of being curious about humans will never go away, right? It's important. Doesn't matter what the technical kind of flavor of the day is. AI, absolutely, right? It's kind of it's changing the world. I think even within a world of AI, staying curious about human behavior is going to serve you very well.
Indeed. So that can also be translated to like keep asking questions, right? Like wonder why.
Being
Like,
curious.
is it really like that? Why is that?
How about
And
you,
also-
Charlotte?
Well, to be honest, I also been inspired by both of your answer there as well. Because the curiosities about yourself, about the information you get from AI as well. Not only from AI, everywhere. I feel like it's the information overload kind of area. So how do we be able to keep some of our key human skills, like critical thinking, to have because I really hope I can still have ability to continue to be right and think and curious about things continuously. I wanted to see other people around me and especially the next generation to continue to have ability to think and write independently, which I'm really worried about that because I feel like this is skills I'm losing. So that's why I really agree with both of you. What's important in today's age is about keep the curiosity, keep learning, but keep challenging yourself to thinking about what I see now. Is that true? Is that truly is that my voice? Or is that someone else tell me this is my opinion? What's my opinions around this?
Yeah.
It's a dangerous and slippery slope, right? Like, how many times have I I've got a problem, I've got a question, chat away and throw it to ChatGPT, right?
It's so convenient because I think I read somewhere there were because even Sam Altman keep telling people around, please do not using AI as your kind of a therapy. Don't asking for medical like a kind of a recommendation. However, in one of the interview, he was mentioned about there was a big episode in 2023. I believe he got fired by his own company and then he been hired back literally really soon. However, during the period of time, apparently he went through a little bit of a kind of a emotional kind of challenges the downtime because that's when literally he just had the babies and his partner is not around. He was literally surprised, so he go full on mode to ask ChatGPT about what he do with his life and asking him to coming out with all this kind of a plan for him. So it's just something that is not your. It's something that's really hard. It's like it's not something that you probably in this situation you should not rely on the AI to do this. You should thinking independently and you should try to seeking for professional development. But when stress coming in, when you are in the emotional kind of a turbulence, and there is a very easy solution just next to it, just like you're walking in the desert for 5 days and there's water next to you and there's a 50% of chance this water is going to be poison. Would you drink the water? So it's that kind of a thing. But I have a follow-up question actually about AI since we're talking about AI. So actually interesting to know like how AI currently changing the work, like the way you work and also how you think at the moment.
I think it has not changed the way I work drastically yet, but it has been helping to a great extent. I think if I look, but first, if I talk about myself, and then maybe the industry changes that I have witnessed, that might be interesting as well. So I think from my perspective, it has helped me to gather information very efficiently. And whenever we do prioritization, what we used to do is to do a lot of competitor analysis, right? And especially in TikTok, we not only need to do research on their product design, but also look at how they deal with compliances issue. That's something that's really lengthy. We look at terms of use, how they avoid risk, how they keep people safe, and all these kinds of information. And for example, when we are onboarding, for example, business owners in different industry, for example, if we need to onboard lawyers, what is the criteria for people to give financial advices or any legal advices? We need to do a lot of research. So by making the use of AI and asking them specific questions, we can get those information much more quicker. And then secondly is internally, whenever we have meetings, we will always record them and we do some summary based on that, and so that it basically accumulates and becomes our knowledge base. It's assisted us greatly in writing documents or coming up with decisions. And from a greater aspect, I think we have integrated AI into so many different areas, specifically understanding the large amount of content on TikTok. Back in the days, we need to watch every single live streams or watch every single video to get ideas. But now with the help of AIs, they can glimpse on a bunch of videos and even like recognize how did this lawyer, for example, engage with his customers, and what kind of knowledge did he share in the live stream in order to attract consumers, and in what specific timestamp did he use any tricks to urge people to make contact with him, book a one-on-one sessions. What is the specific actions he used to drive the traffic away from TikTok, for example? Those subtle elements can now be spotted way faster with the help of AI. So that's fantastic.
Okay, I'm very curious about this. How much trust you putting into the result you receive from the AI? Like, for example, in the situations, before you used to have to review kind of 4 to 5 video details, understanding about particular trends. Now you kind of get a one-pages summary around, they basically give you opinions about what works, what didn't work in the situation. How do you do validation? How much trust do you put in?
Yeah, I always go back to validate. And the way we designed the toolkit in a way that we can always come back to, hey, a specific timestamp to see, hey, is he actually doing this? So like I think 1 out of 10 or like 2 out of 10 times, I always go back to check, is this creator actually doing what the AI summary is saying that what he did. So I always go back, and when I look for information like the legal documents, term of use, and for example, I always click on the link to see, is it actually showing something? Because I think many times the AI is summarizing something and then they give a reference, and when I click on the link, it says page not available.
Well, I was more curious about the process behind it, right? And feel free if you're not comfortable to share, let me know. But is it you've already developed a toolkit and a kind of back-end product for the consumers of the data to run this analysis? Or is it that you have a data scientist that you work with who then creates these automatic reports that give you, these are the trending themes?
It's a back-end product already. Like, we don't need the help of data scientists in between to get those results. So we, product manager or operation, can just make use of those AI summary toolkits to identify the key activities of those creators. Yeah. I think they brought up one of my, I didn't really realize it, but now that you just mentioned that, I think I always ask AI to help me with anything that's subjective or objective. Sorry, I might be confusing these two words, but like I always want them to give me facts instead of having
Objective.
objective, instead of having him or her to help me doing decisions or making a lot of suggestions.
Yeah. Because this is actually one of the things that, like, in the AI panel I was listening to, people says they don't have a problem for people using in the university. The teacher actually doesn't have any problem for student using AI to write the essay, because there's a really good arguments around. Sometimes especially in the university, there's a lot of people with English as second language. They have really, really good opinions, but when they actually express their opinions, because of the language disadvantage, they could not articulate them clearly, which should result in they have a bad mark. However, the only issues university have with the AI is because, for example, if you have points A and B, but when you put it into the AI, because AI is based on everyone else, the general kind of answer, AI will frame your answer to become A, B, C, D. Well, so the students themselves didn't actually have an opinion about C and D. And then they didn't realize they put in the C and D in, or even they realized they said, oh, actually it's pretty good, sounds pretty good. So then what happened is every single one, when they submit the paper regarding what opinion, if you have A, you have D, everyone's opinion is A, B, C. So that's actually the biggest challenging at the moment with the education in the uni around, to say, well, it's very hard to know what's the people's real opinions anymore. As long as AI can tell them, as long as they're still talking about A, B, that's a really helpful rules. But the only problem is you don't know, like changing the meaning.
To your point earlier, is it actually thinking for me? Or is it telling me what to think?
Yeah.
So one of the topics that we kind of love to deep dive with product managers is kind of staying relevant and staying sharp, right? And I think for a lot of product managers, having a growth mindset, it kind of comes hand in hand. Larry, what's your go-to method for kind of keeping up with new trends, new tools, kind of what's new?
Yeah, I think I'm more of a person that tend to speak to a lot of different teams. I think I tend to keep connection with people so that people can share me their problems, what they are thinking, what they are researching, and I can make use of those information. Less of I think in the very beginning when you asked, do I prefer solo sport or like a team sport?
A
I
team
think
sport, yes.
yeah, I think I do less of those research by myself. So I think I have the tendency to stick with other people and chat more so that I can keep awareness about what's going on in the market and what can I learn, and is there any new tricks or new things that I should pay attention to. And on the other hand, I love problem-based solving. I love to see problems. Whenever I talk with people, sometimes a bad thing is when people share me some problem, I tend not to emotionally connect with them, but then I right away start, how I can deal with that. So the more problem that I'm aware of, the more it pushes me to find solutions to tackle them. So I use this way to keep myself energetic and keep myself being aware of new things, new trends, new technologies. So I think speaking with people, chatting, and understanding their problems, asking how they are, that's already a good starting point to for a key answer.
You're a very curious person. You ask people questions and
Yeah,
listen.
yeah.
Well, there's a promotion about some of the TikTok culture. Again, I feel like I'm not paid by TikTok recruitment team, but that's one thing I'm really impressed about the TikTok culture is the whole lunchtime thing. Everyone from different part of business coming to the canteen at the same time and sitting at the table and just chat. Like I literally just see people talking about all different sort of topics, and then kind of inspire, almost like information exchange, inspire all the time, which is such a great thing to do. So I feel like I agree with Larry. I actually feel like this is probably the most fastest way to figuring out what's everyone doing, what's happening, what problem you're trying to solve, how do you solve it, and then generally give you more ideas as
Yeah.
well.
And how about the two of you? Like, how do you now? Like, you need to run podcasts. You need to keep up to the trends. So how do you like keep getting to know new stuffs and new trends?
I think I use ADHD as my superpower, and so if it interests me enough that I can focus, it means I can hyper focus on it, and so I can just kind of deep dive in it until I get bored, and then I'll just move on, right? And so it's I'd like to say it's actually mostly luck. It's like I know there's a lot of things that's very important that I should learn, like Python, but just vibe coding that new idea that I got kind of just took over and took out that 2 hours that I had dedicated for Python. So that's okay. And just accepting that's okay.
Yeah, that's
So,
good because you're
yeah.
using you kind of feel like what you truly love, then you invest time into it. If something you're meant to learn it's important enough.
It's a terrible answer, but that's just
It's a
that's just
very
how
valid
I
answer.
roll.
That's good.
Yeah, sounds fair.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a little bit kind of I'm a system person, so I like to create system for myself. So very similar to Larry. So like I generally trying to create a system, then I will be able to learn. For example, this podcast is a system I created for me to have regular conversation with smart people like you guys, like Kies and Larry and everyone else, to be able to learn new ideas. And that's a system I'm setting up for me to have regular checking around that. And the other system I'm checking up for myself is every single morning when I wake up from 5 to 7, before I do anything, I'm just sitting down and have 2 hours me time. During this me time, sometimes I write a blog, sometimes I read a book, sometimes I'm just like vibe coding for something random for 2 hours. Sometimes it is a new technology that I'm curious about. I just wanted to give a go. So I basically just do it every day before things coming in. If during these 2 hours, very similar to Kiet, if for some reason I just couldn't get anything in, like then I might just starting this time to just browsing some news and stuff. But this is my 2 hours basically me time. And
Interesting.
so
It sounds like almost like one of the takeaway that I heard, if I generalize it, is that
yeah.
saving some time for yourself, so that like if you keep like 2 hours every single day or maybe every single week to yourself, then you kind of utilize that to a great extent to explore your personal interests. And then if you believe in yourself or throughout like 2 to 3 decades, then yourself is already a mature system that would utilize the time to find something fun and something that's interesting, something that is inspiring. So make sure that you leave some time for yourself.
Yeah, I believe in systems. Basically, because I don't believe in self. I found that self discipline and motivation is too hard. Like sometimes you wanted to do certain thing, you want to learn it, and then unless you're setting up the right support system for it, it just doesn't happen.
I think, and also if you can incorporate it in your work itself so that it's part of how you work, like it goes back to that curiosity thing, right? Like you're trying to solve a problem, you could do it the way that you normally do it, or you've learnt about this new idea, I'm just curious about it, I want to give it a go. Like you don't have to carve out that extra time to do it. If you can spare that extra time in your work itself, right? So, but once you incorporate in your work, then suddenly you're learning as you're going too.
Yeah.
Let's kind of align with Larry's stories as
Yeah,
well.
I think so. I think so. I'm trying to blend, make sure that my work is fulfilling some of my personal purpose.
Yeah. All right, but on that note, what's your guys? Do you have any favorite books, podcasts, or things you would recommend people to read or listen to at the moment?
I think the one book that I could always, I don't read a lot of books, so the only one book I can think of now is The Design of Everyday Things. I believe it was by Dom Norman.
Yes.
When I was in my master, it was one of the few serious book that I actually read and finish, and that was very inspiring back then. And I think I guess a lot of mindset that I have or philosophy that I have nowadays originated from reading that book.
So iconic, right? Just the kettle. I mean the teapot design on the cover.
Yeah, and it's a lot about, I think, it's telling a lot of story about how people came up with the design. So I think that teach people to stay curious and always ask why, and then think about who you are designing it for or what you are designing it for, because different purpose come up with a different design, and sometimes something that might look weird can be right? And then so it's a very fun book to read, I think.
Yeah, and also really emphasize that one. Also, really teach me about the importance of design because I remember I think the first chapter was talking a little bit about the different design of the door, how you open door in different ways, and then that is something that I never pay attention. I never thought about it twice.
Yeah.
And then but that is something that designer actually pay attention when they're thinking about it,
Hmm.
and how a bad design can impact
Yeah,
so many people's life
definitely. Yeah.
in that sense. So they really helped me to understanding the importance of the design as well. So
Yeah.
great recommendations.
Yeah. And how about you? What do you have for recommendation?
Oh my God, I don't have one today.
What's
Kian, you go.
something you recently read?
Well, I can tell you about all the vibe coding tools I've been experiencing at the moment. So I tried Lovable, I tried Replit, and I tried Base 44 and the Claude at the moment, and also Cursor. But the one thing I learned about the whole vibe coding things, I just thinking about it is worthwhile for PM to try because when the moment when you're doing that, it's a really really good way to helping visualize and prototype some of your thinking. Before I used to spend so long before I meeting with stakeholder, I used to have to prepare a lot of PowerPoint deck to articulate about my concept, talking about target customer, talking about potential your ROI, how you invest. We still prepare that, right? However, I feel like this vibe coding tool is such a great icebreaker and alignment tools these days because in a meeting, you immediately be able to catch people's attention because and sometimes I even just have an elephant out of the room to say, all right, this is a meeting almost using the vibe coding, the prototype as an icebreaker with people you meet to say, hey, I know you have this idea. Again, this could be completely wrong, but let me understand, is this aligned with your idea? We give them a very, very kind of a concept. People started engaging around that. Of course, there's a risk around people starting to believe that's actually a working thing. But then again, this depends on how you managing the expectation there. And then when you're going to the whole market, problem statements, the investment ROI, it just becomes so much natural because you have basically something to connect everyone with in the meeting.
Yeah, nice. It's
That's
that old saying, like, I don't know what I want, but when I see it, I'll know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, that's something that I probably will recommend PM to try. Like if you have times, 2 hours here and there, just build something that you have. It can be something really small, but just using any of the vibe coding tool to build something.
I stopped by those website or those toolkits several times, but like something that was stopping me is that I try not to use it for work at the moment. But then when I think about my daily life and I couldn't think of an idea I wanna fulfill with the use of this toolkit. So that's my problem. So
It's okay.
I
Let's
wanna
have a coffee. We can talk about so many ideas. I
yeah.
can help you to bring out some of the potential idea you would like.
Yeah. So yeah, I need some inspirations. Otherwise, and then the other thing I would try. So two things I'm trying to keep myself away from thinking and utilizing these tools are my work and gaming. So I was trying to, for example, I want to do a base design for one of the games I play, but then I was thinking, so no, stop using this tool to play games. I should focus on something serious, but I can't think of something serious at the moment.
Well, what's the game out of curiosity?
It's called Icarus. It's a open world survival base building game.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Hey, but that's the other advice I actually have, just general advice for life, and this is advice I give to Charlotte as well. Is sometimes the best way to learn is to have fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to leave space for us to have more fun as well, because this is something I feel so guilty when I was in the corporate world, because I spending probably 13 years in my life in the corporate. I grew up in the corporate as well, right? Every single times I always feel like I should spend all my time in the growth and development. But now after I come out from the corporate world, I realize the best way to actually to learn is to follow the fun, follow the passion, follow the joys around that. So sometimes games, like building games, that's probably the best way to learn, because that's truly something you're interesting around them, and that's where you can
Yeah.
make the biggest impact as well.
Indeed. So
Okay.
maybe build a mini game. Yeah.
I can be a tester. We can
That's
help
cool.
you to test it. All right. So what's the kind of next for Larry? So you have been kind of a travel to different places, changing different job. Do you have any kind of big goals or new skills you want to get on the horizon for you?
I think if you are trying to put it in a very professional context, so my personal goal,
Doesn't have to be. Like,
Any
we'll
way how
follow
you
the
want
theme.
to frame it?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think what you mentioned, like vibe coding or like coding, picking up coding again, something that I feel like doing, because like maybe I have mentioned like for some time I was a content creator. And then I do gaming related content based on the game modules modifications that people published. And back in the day, why I was able to get a followers was because I helped to translate a lot of games by myself and by the team I manage, and with the help of a lot of machine translation toolkits. So nowadays, with the help of those AI toolkits, I think I can do the work more efficiently. And especially for product manager, if we one person can also develop some of the ideas or some of the concept we have, that will be really powerful. Sometimes I run into podcasts and YouTube videos saying how one person can build a company nowadays with the help of AI toolkits. So I think it's definitely feasible, and I think it's just need me to learn the skill of like coding and using those AI toolkits in order to accomplish what I have mentioned. So that's something that I really want to learn. And apart from that, I think personally speaking, I'm thinking about like we are settling down in Australia, thinking about having children and prepare the knowledge to raise the children. I think that would be a big steps to take.
That is a big goal. Oh my God.
Yeah, nice.
Congrats.
You won't regret it.
Could be
Some of the worst times and experiences of my life, but the rewards are way worth it. So
way worth it. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's beautiful. Well, Kia is a good like a kind of a source of support in that area.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
guess as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, but more than happy to chat. But everyone's journey, like everyone will tell you, you know, their version of the story.
True.
Yours is
Yeah.
the only one that matters, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe having children would be the most challenging thing in life, because like for a lot of time, I'm the kind of person that I don't like to do research, to be honest. If not were the fact that doing research help you to work more efficiently,
yeah,
I tend to not do any research because I like to experience every single thing without any knowledge. I think that's a different story, right? So, but with children, I'm afraid that if I don't sufficient research and I don't protect them enough, they are vulnerable, and some of the damage will not be reversible in the long term. So yeah, that could be very challenging, in my opinion.
yeah. Well, you when it comes, you do what you have to do,
Yeah.
right? So that's the only important thing.
I don't know why, as a boxer, I thinking about a very famous words in the boxing world. It says everyone has a plan until the punch is in your face. It may not really
Wow, that's like
relevant.
Exactly, like
that's
100%
great.
relevant.
Yeah.
100% relevant.
I will be interesting to know Larry's kind of view about what will be the future of the role of the product management involved in the next few years. Do you think there's so many kind of fear in the industry around this role is not going to exist because of the vibe coding tool of the AI? And the other day I was sending the link to Kia to say in the I think it's called Trivia AI. There's some like in the Silicon Valley, people is already develop junior PMs kind of AI agent at the moment. So I'm really curious about what do you think the role of the product management is going to evolve in the next few years?
When you asked me, I realized that I wasn't thinking enough about this topic. But then, just in about 5 to 10 seconds that I was thinking, if the role of product manager no longer exists because of all those protective toolkits, that I think it's even a greater plus for PM themselves, because that means they can be the CEO of a lot of one-man company. And I think one of the few things that is stopping a lot of product managers from maybe starting up their own business or working for themselves is because they think, or they will rely on the resources provided by the company, like product designer, engineers, data and analysts, a lot of people. But if one day we can do this things easily by ourselves, then we are able to see even more great ideas getting built and getting developed. I believe that most of the people that venture into the career path of being a product manager is because they like to create, they're smart, and I believe they will be able to do a great job. So eventually, if AI toolkits is really that powerful, I would assume that it's not a bad thing at all. We will see more productivity emerging. So I don't think people should be afraid of that if that day arrives.
I
Yeah,
love
it's
the
very cool.
answer so much. I love that so much. This is one of the most kind of positive, heartwarming like answer I've ever received for these particular questions. So thank you so much.
Well,
Kian, do the honor, ask him
Yeah,
the closing questions. There was a killer question where we kind of have to ask for every
really,
single
a
guest.
killer question.
yeah. So it's tradition that we're kind of introducing. Essentially, we ask every guest to answer a question from a previous guest, but also ask a question of one of our future guests as well.
That's interesting.
And so this one is from a content creator that we interviewed, and their question was, what do you think is the future of social media?
Well, that's a really hard question. The future of social media. Sorry, the future of social media or the future of social media platforms.
I think you can interpret it in different way. I think the context around is is a content creator essentially. So her main product is the social media. So I think so that's why she leave a question for you. It's around what do you think what's the future of the social media? And that's literally the question. But you can interpret it as social media as a platform or
Okay.
in
Yeah,
general,
yeah.
what's the impact
Then
of
I
social
think
media?
I would say something about social media. I think because I think I think the simple word is I think social media will lean more towards authenticity and people in the long run, because it's so easy to create fascinating and eye-attracting content nowadays. And I think eventually we will come back to the basic that at the end of the day, you just want to care for the content of the people that you are seeing in front of you. And whatever they tell you, you believe that because it's authenticity or because the trust you can put in it. So I would encourage people to think about this in the long term.
So if I play that out, I'm deliberately being kind of challenging. Do you think one day there will be a dollar figure attached to a level of authenticity?
Can you elaborate on your faith? Because I'm not 100% sure I understand the meaning of like a dollar attached to.
So your and this is kind of looking at it from a purely cold-hearted economics point of view, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, so you're imagining in the future where good-looking things, exciting things that kind of drive dopamine are a commodity. It's everywhere, right? People don't really value it. Real, genuine authenticity is what is valued in social media, right? Like, do you think there'd be a day where, in a Black Mirror world, where you would actually put a rating at this is a 10 out of 10 in authenticity. This is only a 5 out of 10. And then, monetize that. I'm just kind of playing it out.
Wow, that's a really deep question.
That's
Sorry,
a dark question as well.
I've been watching a lot of sci-fi and reading a lot of sci-fi.
Yeah. Can we rate authenticity, right? But yeah.
Or is it something that's just genuinely human feeling?
Yeah, I think technically it's doable. Yeah, the horrible thing, it's actually doable.
You reckon?
Yeah, I reckon.
However, I think in the moment when that happens, isn't that if everything become measurable, then I feel like AI will be able to replicate it. They will be able to make it authentic. I think AI will do better job than pretending to be authentic than human. So I feel like that's something's going to be so dangerous if that view is true.
Yeah. So I think apart from the authenticity I mentioned, I think the more important element it's the people, right? I think with all this technology and also now that I think in Australia is a very interesting country. I think I heard people have the mateship concept. Like
Hmm.
you really care about the other person, no matter like their background, their origin. Like I think eventually we all come back to people that you see in front of the screen, and maybe AI would be able to fake it to some extent, but people care about not only seeing their video, but also the interaction they might have with the person, the creator, or maybe the agent behind it. Yeah. So I would assume I would encourage people to make more connection, make more interactions.
Yeah.
And I love how Larry just tried to put a positive kind of view on my very cynical kind of rebuttal to his thought.
No,
So I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
there might be some truth there. Okay, so Larry, can you actually leave a question for the future PM that we interview as well?
Well, so
What are
so
you
you will
curious
be
about that?
interviewing PMs, right?
Okay, we have PM, we have some growth people, but basically product people. It can be anyone. So people in the product space.
Okay, maybe just an easy one. Let me think about how to phrase it. It's like, do they ever feel like they have a great idea at work and they have built it to an extent that they might find it more beneficial to run a company by themselves to work on the idea? Yeah.
I'm laughing because I'm sure Charlotte has had many of those.
So that's why I finally
so
take
have
the
I.
step.
Yeah. I think that one of the questions I had in mind is that, did they ever have a great idea that they would consider setting up their own company and working for that idea?
It's a really good questions. Cool. All right. Thank you so much for today's interview. We feel like we get a lot out of it. I write so many different like post notes about the ideas. I wanted to make sure I go back to review as well. So thank you so much, Larry.
Thank you very much for having me. I hope the recording was fun and
It was a lot of fun. Thank you, Larry. I really enjoyed the talk and got a lot out of it.